back, everyone. It's Stephanie from Glitterful. If you're new, welcome to my channel. If you're looking to learn fun and easy glitter tumbler designs and DIY crafts, start today by subscribing to my channel below. Become that glitterholic and click that notification bell to always know when I upload. Okay, guys, so this video is basics. We are going to do a tumbler with the Mod Podge method. So we're going to be using this Mod Podge, the gloss version, so the orange one, that's how I remember it. You're going to need a brush. Brush is preference, guys. I choose and I love the foam brushes. One, they're super cheap to buy and they're easy to find. And also, they're very great with coverage in regards to your second layer of glitter. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in depth. You're going to need a prepped tumbler, and I will have that video on how to properly prep your tumbler tutorial in the description bar below. So I've done something a little bit different, something that I haven't seen out there, and I think it's very important when we're learning basics. When we're learning basics is, and we don't talk a lot about it, is when we look at videos, we're like, okay, let's learn how to apply glitter. And we see this wonderful prepped cup with spray painted white or the color. Well, we never really talk about how each base can alter the glitter. So what I've done is I've given you a piece on one tumbler, a piece of spray painted white, the closest glitter color to it, and a black base and stainless steel, because this is something very important to talk about. Today we're going to be using an iridescent glitter. This is one of our newest colors. It is called Carter, okay? It is an iridescent blue, and I'm absolutely in love with it. So I wanted to showcase it today. So what we are going to need to do is you can grab like a little silicone bowl. I have these all around, so I'm just going to use that. I'm going to pour some in here. I'm not going to pour a lot because you can always pour more in, and but you can never really pour it back into the bowl. All right, so with Mod Podge, one, say it right or you'll be attacked. You want to make sure that you're applying the glue nice and evenly, but also quickly along your cup. Okay, so you want to do this all around, and you want to get a really nice coat on there. One thing about Mod Podge is that it dries very quickly, so there isn't a lot of work time with this. So you want to make sure that you get a lot on there, but you also want to have even strokes. You'll have others out there that say, oh, the strokes don't matter. The strokes absolutely matter, because if you have, for example, it's easier to show you on the black base. If you leave a streak like that, that's it. That's how it stays. And when your glitter lays on it, you're going to have a little hump. So you don't want that, because you want a very nice and even cup. So you are able to get as much glue onto your cup without having those ugly streaks. So just make sure that you're just gently evening out those streaks, and then you're solid to go. All right, so let's leave that in here. Now that we've applied Mod Podge all over our cup, let me put this here for a second. Hopefully it doesn't fall. And let me open up my glitter. Now you want to have something nearby to let your glitter fall. I'm going to be using this Teflon sheet. I absolutely love this thing. It works for everything. My heat transfer, when my epoxy folds, it's just amazing. So, all right, making sure I have no loose glitter on here. Okay, so you're going to be applying. So let's start with the area where it's already blue. It's like closest to the color, okay? And I'm applying that on there, okay? We're just going to go all around. I was going to do it one section at a time, but we can actually talk about the difference of what it looks like, okay? Because each base will give you a different look. So understanding why we do the things that we do is important, so that you can become, you can make your cups to the best of your knowledge, right? So you can become that cup maker. Okay, so we've applied our first layer of glitter. Yes, glitter. I didn't sound twisted, guys. Sorry, it's late over here. All right, so Mod Podge. Let's talk about that really quickly. There's not a lot of work time. That's why most of the time you're going to need a second layer. There's another reason you need a second layer, is making sure that you pick up on that glitter. So I wanted to use an iridescent glitter to show you guys the differences in between bases, because it's easier to show you on an iridescent base, on an iridescent glitter. So with an iridescent glitter, and I hope you guys are picking this up, when, for example, right here, this is a silver, this is just a prep cup. So what we did is I sanded this down and I left it the stainless steel. So I gave it a little roughness to it, but it's completely stainless steel. That's this part. And can you see, you can still see that silvery underneath, okay? Here is the white base. So I used a flat Krylon spray paint, and as you can see, it popped that blue up, but you could still see the white underneath. And here is this blue that I painted with acrylic. Now pay very close attention. It really made our blue Carter, which is the name of the color, pop, but you can still see the uneven strokes of my acrylic paint. So also something to keep in mind if you're using acrylic paint for a base. Now black, this is also Krylon matte black, and take a look of how that completely changes the color of Carter. Okay, so when you're working with different color bases, it's very important that you understand how each base color affects your glitter. Okay, so the cool thing with black bases is if you have a color shifting, it will work magic, because it will shift the color of your glitter, something amazing. So you might want to try it out. So let's get to second coating our cup, and I'm gonna put that to the side here for a second. Now with Mod Podge and my foam brushes, and the reason why I love this so much is because I really love the fact that my foam brush can pick up a lot of glue, okay? And I gently, like, it looks like I'm doing this very haphazardly, but I'm not. I'm gently patting the glue into the glitter, and then I will use my my brush to kind of bring it down, and just making sure that we have a really nice coverage. And that's what I really love about the foam brushes. And you can find whatever way works for you. This just works for me. So this is why I let you guys know I always try to save you a buck or two. So this can get really, really expensive really quickly. So just trying to make sure that you're keeping your costs down is something that I like to bring awareness to, okay? The one thing I love, love, love about Mod Podge and the method itself is that you have the ability to ensure a very, very nice lay of glitter, because you are responsible for the coverage, okay? Because you're adding glue, you're adding your glitter. So if you come down to it and you're like, well, you know what, at that second layer, it wasn't enough, do a third layer. You can absolutely do that. So that is why I love the ability to have that, ability to do that. The other thing is that you want to be mindful, because if you're not quick when you're working with Mod Podge, you're going to be using a lot of supplies, because adding glitter, 2-3 coats of glitter, can get costly, okay? So keep this all in mind. It's all about cost and what you feel comfortable with. But each design will require different things. Some things you'll be able to get away with the epoxy method, and I will also have that video in the description link for you guys in case you want to take a look at that. It's going to be something very similar to this, just using the epoxy method. But it's also very important to learn how to use the Mod Podge method so that you are aware of how to use Mod Podge for different designs. Because no matter what you do or what you like, you won't be able to get away from this glue. You'll need it for different designs and different techniques in the cup making world. So excited. All right. So that took a little bit of a moment, but I have really nice even strokes. I put this all around. I'm going to bring my cup and move my Mod Podge over. And you're just gonna add your glitter back onto your cup, however you feel excited or how you wanna do it. No rhyme or reason for me, guys. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, tilt it to the side, whatever floats your boat. It goes back in the bag as long as you have something to capture it, okay? All right, so you're adding that all onto there, making sure it's nice and laid on. All right. All right, so take a look. Oh, and I have, see, take a look at that. I have a little piece right there that needs just a little bit of glue. And all I gotta do is add some more glitter onto there. And I'm gonna pat and I'll probably need a second coat, but that's okay. All right, so take a look. So with the Mod Podge method, you could still see the differences. Right here, I see my stainless steel right underneath, okay? Right here, I see my black base. It does pick up. Here I see my blue because it really picked up that richness of Carter there. And then my white paint, which still gave it a richness, but it's also created like a little bit of lightness it brought lightness to how rich this blue can actually be. So each glitter, each base can affect the way your glitter looks. And that's with anything, guys. It's with metallics, with opaques. It's just easier to show you what it would look like with an iridescent opalescent glitter, okay? So take a look at that. Now, what you guys would do for this is, if you're done, you're like, okay, Stephanie, I'm good. I've added my Mod Podge. I'm happy with my coverage. You're gonna let this bad boy sit and dry for at least 20 minutes, and then you're good to set up epoxy. And guys, that's it for the Mod Podge method. Please make sure that you're watching your bases. Okay, guys, so another basic tutorial. This one is going to be a little chit chat in regards to bases and how to apply glitter using the epoxy method. So, bases, if you guys watched the Mod Podge method of applying glitter, then you know that we've added, I did different color bases so that you guys can see the differences while using the Mod Podge method. But today with the epoxy method, I decided to do the same thing. I have a tumbler that has been prepped, and I did different types of bases. So I started with a Krylon matte finish spray painted white. I did acrylic paint using green. I did Krylon matte black, and then I left it basic stainless steel. You'll have a lot of cup makers that find their preference, and I want you guys to find your own. So this is why I'm showing you how to do it and what it looks like when you're applying all these methods. And I have my hands are all dirty. So today's glitter is going to be a holographic ultra fine. It's called Rainforest. So I'm super excited to get this on there. I'm going to be using a silicone brush to apply my epoxy. Today for this video, and any time that I apply glitter, I'll use a resin that I don't really care about the finish because it's not going to be on the outside. So I'm going to be using Alumilite Amazing Clear Cast. It's a part A and part B resin. I've already mixed it up, and I actually have 5 mLs in here, but you're not going to need any more than 2.5 mLs. of epoxy, okay? You can use your finger or you can use your silicone brush as I'm doing, and you're just going to really apply your epoxy onto the cup, okay? And you're gonna pull that epoxy all the way out. And when I'm saying you're pulling, like you're pulling the epoxy from side to side. You do not want to have running epoxy, okay? So for those of you that are really, really new, epoxy self-leveling, so it runs until it finds a place to settle and lay flat, okay? So this is why we keep cups on a cup turner and moving until they are dry enough and stiff enough that the epoxy will not move anymore. So that is just the history behind some epoxy there. So you don't need a lot of epoxy when adding glitter. You don't want a lot of it either, because even if it's not running, but it's a lot onto your cup, what ends up happening is it will give your glitter wet spots, and you'll have a couple if you're in other groups like, hey, like, help me, what happened? I use the epoxy method and I have like these spots, like why does it look like that? Well, you're epoxy ate your glitter, and that's the best way to describe it. It has wet pockets. There was too much epoxy in those areas, and the epoxy was like, oh, let me chew this up. If that happens to you, you just need to add more glitter in those areas that look wet, and that's how you fix it. When you're applying your glitter, you want it to look dry on the top, okay? And we'll get to that in a second once we apply it. But I figured I would chat along since I'm over here brushing on epoxy for you guys. Okay, so once you feel confident that you have epoxy all around your cup, even in those crevices there, you want to make sure that it's all over, and then you are set to put this down. I'm gonna grab my piece of paper here so that I can capture my glitter. I'm gonna move this to the side for a second. I'm making a mess here. There's no way to get away from the mess, guys, I'll tell you that much. So just have fun with it. Okay, so you're gonna start applying, and I'm gonna show you guys how each base affects your glitter, okay? Because bases are super important. They alter the way, the color of your glitter. So this is why you'll see a lot of cup makers say, you know what, if I'm using, a certain glitter color, then I'll spray paint it that color glitter, the color of the glitter that's closest to it. If that works for you guys, hey, works for you. I don't always have like a ton of colors. Like when I was making cups, I had repeated colors. I never had colors that were like every color I needed a spray can. I didn't. What I would do is I would actually go and get acrylic paint, and that would be what I used for my base and what I did right now. And it saves you money, guys. This thing is super expensive. This hobby, this business, it can become expensive. So this is how you find how you're going to, save yourself a buck or two. And you can buy acrylic paint at Walmart for 50 cents, guys. So there you go. All right, so take a look. And so a couple things to notice here. I didn't have any epoxy on my edge here, so I would, in order to have a really nice, clean line there, I'm gonna have to add some epoxy, and that can always get difficult towards the, I'm gonna use my fingers, even though I don't like to use that. I use the silicone brush, guys, just so you guys know, and those are available on our website, because again, I save my gloves. I don't like to use gloves and throw them away. It bothers me. So I save my gloves as much as I can, and it saves me a couple bucks. All right, so let's chat about it. Let's go here to the most obvious one. Hope you guys can see this. The black base, take a look at that. It didn't take away from the beauty of the green, but you can definitely see that black peer up underneath. You see that? Same thing here for the green. The green really brought out the richness of the rainforest color. So it doesn't take away from it. It actually gives it a little bit more depth, which is what you're looking for with the epoxy method. Unlike the Mod Podge method, it's a little bit difficult to go back and add a second layer. So this is why you want to get the base color of your glitter for anything, whether you're doing a holographic, whether you're using an opaque, whether you're using an opalescent or an iridescent. You want to have the color base that you want the color, your glitter, to pick up. So this green here was the right thing to do. Here is the white, so you could take a look, and I have some areas there that were like, I guess, kind of streaky there. See, and that's my white. And then right here is that silver, and you can see how it picked up that silvery underneath, that silver metallic underneath. So be very aware, guys, of how bases really, the color base really affect your glitter color and the way it lays. So if this was a perfect world and we were done, you will let this sit and dry for 3 to 4 hours. After you dry, if you're happy with your coat and you don't want to add a second layer, you can, let's step back for a second. If you wanted to add a second layer, you would mix up again. At this point, I would say 5 ml of epoxy and really carefully kind of drizzle that onto your cup and move it around onto your glitter so that you can apply more glitter. I typically don't do that. I just move on to my next step, ensuring that I'm happy with this coat. So 3 to 4 hours, say this was it, then you will go ahead and apply your first layer of epoxy so that you can get this cup covered and ready. So that's it for me, guys. This is how I apply my glitter using the epoxy method. This is the fun tips of the different bases. Please let me know what you think. Let me know if you have other ideas or other videos that you would like to see down in the comments below. Don't forget to join us on our Glitterful Glitter Fanatics group, and join us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. It was good to have you all today, and I can't wait to see you all back. Have a glitterful day. Bye.